Welcome back, everybody. Red here. This is Pure Luck Gaming, and this is the beta for Destiny 2. First one there you have is the strike that we're going to be doing today. They added some things. You have the farm and a section for pre-order. I don't know why they added the pre-order thing, mostly because pretty much the only way that, unless you got it from a YouTube channel, the only way that you got a beta code was by pre-ordering the game. So the farm thing, not sure what it's for with the matchmaking, and that's something that if I have time later I might try, but not sure really what the purpose is. For the update they didn't really say anything, so obviously everybody knows kind of how the Crucible is, but for this video we're going to be doing the strike, the inverted Spire. So, with it being the beta, it should not take very long for it to find two other Guardians. I have done this before, failed horribly because it actually only found one other person, and when we get to the end of it, you'll see why having a third person is kind of important. So, with it being the beta, you can actually have an idea of who's going in the strike with you, because everybody has their own individual ships. So the other ship, or both other ships for this one, they look like mine, which means all three of us are going to be hunters. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, because the Titan, for their ability, is they create a protective dome, so they can't shoot you, which is good when you have to like regain health. So we don't have that ability. However, we have three people with hand cannons. Might work out, might not.
That sounds like a job for us.
Like, are you sure you?
And of course, you have a little computer girl in the background feeding us some sass. Catch up to the enemy hamsters up here. Guinea pigs. And anybody who watches this, let me know if you agree that they look like guinea pigs. Let me know in the comments. This way I know at least I'm not crazy. I'm not the only person that sees this. Because as soon as, like that guy, right? These guys. As soon as I see their face, obviously it's kind of like a alien slash robotic thing, but it looks like the head of a guinea pig. It really does. Nice thing about this section, obviously these things show back up. However, unlike a couple spots in the first Destiny game, these don't disappear on you. Then of course you may have seen these before. We have jump tunnels.
Oh look, it's a Vex milk waterfall. Can we stop and... Aww.
And that reminds me, those giant balls, when they come in and the guinea pig guys come out, I learned the hard way, there's no marker or cursor on the ground for where those are going to land. The downside for that is when they land on you, they don't necessarily hurt you, they just automatically kill you. So I think in the future, when they do like the full release, that might be a nice kind of addition. Because if, for certain missions or like this for the strikes, if you don't have an idea of where they land, because they always land in the same spot, but if you don't know where those spots are, you can actually very easily walk in his path, and as soon as they show up, they'll land on you and kill you. So if I had just like at least a cursor or a marker on the ground to show you where they're going to go, like a second or two ahead of time, might be helpful. This way, if you're standing there or if you're running in a circle trying to do a zombie train with some of the guys, as soon as you see that, you know not to either stand there, or if you're running that direction, to go a different direction. Would be nice. More of these guys. Of course, in the background, back there we have more of the snipers. And there is a that platform we were on in this one, there is a little bit of a gap, so you have to actually use your double/triple jump. The Guardian that went down, he forgot to do that. Downside is, when that happens, the upper platform is where it puts the marker, and you can't get back up there. Which is bad for me, because the one guy was lagging behind, and the other guy was down, so I get no help. Take out Boss Man. Now, I will say, having the ability to have more than 3 rockets in the rocket launcher, that part is nice. But one thing I do hope that they change is, like, if you notice when you go down, it's like 24, 27 seconds that you have to wait till you respawn unless somebody else revives you. Most of what you have for like the first Destiny game is, unless you're at a restricted spawn area or it's like the boss guy that you're fighting, if it's not like one of those scenarios, the respawn time is like 4 seconds, which I think is understandable. So I think they could really kind of adjust the clock on it for how long your guy's down before you can revive yourself. At least for some of the sections. So I know with it being a strike, it's a little bit harder than most normal missions if you're going through the story, but just seems like that would be kind of important, and I may have screwed up my jump. Nope. Okay. So obviously all these you can fall off. If you shoot the bad guy or punch them, you can knock them off the platforms too. Obviously if they go off the platform, they don't respawn, they just die. Like I said, I have done this before, and I'm being slightly careless. Hopefully I don't go off the platform. So, as I said, I have done this before, so at the beginning when it talks about getting legendary gear, that is 100% accurate. Every time you finish it, you do get at least 1 new piece of legendary gear. Sometimes you get 2. Which, okay, I screwed up my jump. With the legendary gear, it's like I said in the last video, it's kind of cool to get them. However, I've not heard anything or seen anything posted on Bungie whether any of the gear that you get, you'll actually keep when the game's fully released in September. So I haven't seen or heard anything about that. So all the gear, like I said in the first, this is either the first video or the last one, when we're going through the story, I really don't know if you're actually going to be able to keep all of it. So as cool as it is to get it, because it is a reward for completing the strike, or if you're playing in the Crucible, it's nice to have the rewards. However, I think long term wise, it's really only nice if you get to keep them. If you don't get to keep them, then it ends up being kind of pointless. Downside for falling off the map is you fall behind everybody. So obviously, along with the guinea pig guys, they have added other additional new characters or creatures, whatever, which you can actually see up there. They have these little dog creatures, like that little guy running around we're trying to kill. Those guys are fast, and at least with this strike, most of the time when they show up as a pack, like a pack of wolves. So you don't have like 1 or 2, you have like anywhere from 3 to 6 or more. So if you've played Call of Duty on zombie maps and you have practice to any extent for running a zombie train, at times with the little wolf pack guys, that really actually comes in handy. Yeah, obviously using the hand cannon and trying to take down more evil guinea pigs. Don't like boss guys, so we're going to use the gold gun, which I do like that you get more than 3 shots with it. However, it does seem like it does less damage than it did before. So I think it's a little give and take. A little less damage, but you get more shots. Actually, yeah, we'll switch out with a different gun. I say that because I think the other hand cannon is what I have as my secondary.
Just so you know, I have detected a massive Vex energy signature.
Because let's face it, dual-wielding pistols is only cool if you actually dual-wield them. If you can only use one at a time, it loses a little bit of its luster. More jumpy shooty. And here's an example. There you go. Gone with the knife, knocked him back just far enough that he fell off the side. Kind of hard to tell there, but if I saw it correctly, it looks like as soon as it pushes them off the ledge, since they can't jump or do a double jump or something to come back up like you can, they just die automatically, because I don't really think that my knife to that guy's head did enough damage to finish him off.
I think they want their drill back.
More guinea pigs. The positive side for this area is that when the giant balls drop in, they kind of have set areas, so as long as you're not in that outside rim, you're good. And as you can see, all the little dogs, wolf creature thingies are all running around. Ow. And apparently I'm their favorite right now. So, like I said, being able to do a zombie train, especially for here, ends up being helpful. The downside is the little wolf creatures, they tend to go a lot faster than zombies. So you can't use running speed to stay away from them. You actually have to kind of jump around, which map knowledge ends up being important, because if you don't have any map knowledge, you'll jump backwards or do a side jump or something, and you'll hit a corner and you'll get stuck. Switch up guns again. Another blast tunnel. And we got more fire guys. You know, for this being in the future, you think the enemy would have slightly better technology than basically an advanced flamethrower? Just saying. Snipers are a pain, however, I'm just shooting this guy for extra points. You don't actually have to stay up there and shoot him. Because even though they're a pain, their aim overall really is only just slightly better than a stormtrooper.
I'll be honest, I don't like this one bit.
Alright, and this is the drill section. Most of the people I get on here with, they've done the strike more times than I have. So they know where the little cave thing is that you have to go. So instead of shooting any of the other creatures, they usually don't worry about the enemy, they just kind of sprint straight forward. Which is good for them, Downside is if you don't know where that is offhand, you haven't worked your way there, you basically end up having to shoot people so they don't all just shoot you in the back and kill you while you're trying to run there. But the positive side, yeah, kind of like here, not good times. And I picked the wrong tunnel. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. Like, granted, the blade spinning thing would have killed me, but I got shot in the back. So it's one of those, that's not really a good place to lag behind anybody, unless they actually stay around that area and try to kill the bad guys. The positive side is if anybody in your fire team makes it to this point, it acts as a checkpoint for the entire fire team. So if one person gets here and the other two die or whatever, it spawns everybody here. Obviously, in this section you have little minion guys that you have to shoot, destroy, kill. Then you have the giant boss guy. This is actually kind of a good example of what some people experienced in the first Destiny. And basically, that's one thing that kind of carries over for a system. Is whether it's a strike or a raid or something, you'll have a recommended light level for them. And that recommended level isn't a recommendation for kind of where you should be so that you can go through it, I guess, at a medium difficulty. Basically, the recommended light level is a recommendation for if you're going to do the raid or strike, that is the lowest that your guy should be. Obviously, with it being the beta, everybody is level 20, 200 light. And the recommendation for light level for this raid is 200. So basically, doesn't really get a whole lot harder than this, because if you're too low below the light level, if you're a little bit below, it'll still let you do a raid or strike. If you're too much below, it won't even let you. So difficulty wise, it doesn't really get too much harder than this. If somebody was like if their light level was 180 instead of 200, it'd probably let them in. So it'd be slightly more difficult. But other than that, basically, light level wise from here, it pretty much just gets easier. Mostly because a lot of people, or at least the ones I've played with, for Destiny 1, if the recommended light level is like 320, or for this it's 200, they'll wait till they're like 250 or 300 before going into it. Mostly because you end up with big guys like this one, where it ends up being kind of a pain to fight them and deal with all the other guys that are running around. That is a pain, however, it makes it more difficult when you're at the minimum requirement for a light level, because you just have to shoot the big guy forever. So I think we end up spending a grand total of like 10, 12, 13 minutes, something like that, just trying to kill this one guy. Like, pretty much for the length of this video is half of it is just us shooting this guy. Obviously, I'm switching back and forth between my weapons, mostly because when you focus more on the big guy, you're not killing the little guys as much. Which kind of makes sense, because it's one of those that when you kill all the little guys, they just continuously respawn, so you never really cut down on the amount that you have for the weaker guys coming after you. That pretty much remains a constant. The only advantage for killing them is they'll drop the little packages and stuff so that you can get more ammo. which is kind of a trade-off, because you need that every now and then, because you will run out of ammo, especially being like the minimum light level. You will run out of ammo, so it's good to, obviously, like I said, what I'm doing is I'm switching back and forth between them, and since the amount of weaker guys that come after you never changes, basically the method I use is focus on the big guy until my ammo just gets really, really low, and then try to kill the smaller guys to pretty much get more ammo. And probably going to go down here, because this part, what I've noticed is for this part, which this guy's probably going to die, all the weaker guys that surround the big one, whoever he basically locks on, all of them tend to lock on. So you go from basically having like one person, whether it's 2 or 3 of the smaller guys or just the big guy, you go from having him shoot at you to basically having all of them shoot at you. And that's where, this is a spot where basically having a Titan on your team where they can do that dome to help prevent you from getting shot as much, and you can regain some of your health. That's where having a Titan comes in handy. 3 hunters, I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's one of those that for as far as a defensive play for some of the bigger bosses like that you have in the strikes and raids and that, having somebody that can do more of a defensive play does seem to be important. Whether it's important or not, it does help out a lot. So, big guy's almost down. And we did it. Okay, big guy is down. Obviously, some of the little guys are still attacking us for a second there until they disappear. And looks like we got 2 legendary items. All items that you get for these are legendary. Like I said, I don't know if any of them are going to actually continue over into the full game when it's released in September. But like I said, at least for going through the trouble of doing the strike, it is nice to have a little bit of kind of a reward. Little party dance. So, we all went down at least once. Like I said, generally, when you have the full game, very few people, unless they're trying to rush into it, go into a raid or a strike being the minimum light level. Doesn't really happen a whole lot. So, obviously, like I said, that's the raid that Bungie put in the beta release for everybody to have fun with. Again, don't know what's going to happen to the legendary gear. If I find out anything, I'll let you know. And as soon as the full game gets released in September, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos for that. Noah used to play Destiny. I don't know if he's going to play the second one. Base doesn't like space age futuristic stuff, so he's probably not going to be on there. But we will get some stuff out. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe.